we are just a couple days after the Clarion County Fair where we ran our 2007 Chevy Cobalt, and she did indeed come out outlasting some very tough young drivers and some very tough Toyota Camrys. I believe all three of them were, but it was a great time. I mean, I was very fortunate that the Cobalt just kind of outlasted them. As you can see, the rear end has nothing left, referring to the back end was folding up nice. As you can see, you know, the trunk in that area kind of coming in real nice, but then toward the end, whenever I was hitting those Camrys, or they were hitting me more so, they were so much harder than me, and boy, they were folding the back up and under. But it was still limping forward, dragging the back end. As you can see, the carnage, in particular this side. I actually screwed up a number of times. It wasn't really a perfect run by me at all. The car just kept kind of running. I was pretty fortunate. A number of really tough cars went out for different reasons, motor issue or battery, electrical. And the old rust bucket, she held on. So outlasted three very young drivers, talented drivers. Was it Trenton Rupp, Oliver Ross, and Noah Schaefer, one of the Schaefer brothers down there at the end. The Cobalt outlasted them. So as you can see, the wheels, again, this one was slightly turned in a decent amount. That one, not quite as much. Well, now, I believe it's this one. It took two, not track shots, but two hits to where I think it got turned in a little bit at the spindle, but I'm actually not even sure. The spindle and the strut, that is, like the strut tweaked itself, if you will, but I haven't taken the wheel off to look yet. But it's definitely both wheels pointing in on the front. You can see how it folded up at the nose. Didn't hit, just kind of some strategic contact with the front bumper, like hitting a guy. Had a wheel shot on I think it was number 40. He got down there like 5th or 6th whenever we were kind of around dead cars, and I was able to kind of keep hitting him to stay off the clock. But at the end there, in particular with Schaefer, was going nose to nose, and yeah, she folded it nice. So again, I was just hoping for a fun run. Clarion County's the fair I grew up going to with my mom, so the fact that I was able to outlast and get my first win there, it was a pretty neat night. Had my family there as well. It was really neat. So looking inside again, I mentioned my build video, but I have, you can see how again everything's dead in the back, pulled it up, and it's a good thing I pulled it up in front here. And you can see there the ground wires are folded all the way up in. You can see how it's all the way to the back of my seat. Pull that guy out. You can see how over here the floor again was caving in, actually held up. I took a pretty good shot behind the wheel on this side, but it held up pretty good. Again, the fuel lines I secured up here, so they're out of the way. That little bit of excess went back there, and had it secured just so it was up off the ground. And you can see I would actually press past my seat there. Again, you can see she is ripping and bending. She was soft, and those boys were hard at the end. Oh, those Camrys were tough, and they were hitting hard, but they had an issue, went out, and the Cobalt was still running, drove back into trailer. So you can see again, looking underneath from, here's my tape I set in the floor, but from pretty much the center out, they were just bad rust. And you can see how the rear, if I get under here, is actually driving up through the car. But again, it did what you'd hope, kind of folded up and in. Again, I'm a smaller car, so that all kind of folded up real nice. At the end, I think it was Rupp that hit me, Trenton, and it kind of, he hit the corner, it like folded this end up really good. You can see on the camera, shout out to my son, he recorded while we ran. He wasn't feeling that great. He has a little cough like me, not sure what it is. It's so nice in July. You can see again the excess, those lines again were all dead as I ran my fuel line. And if you look inside now, again, I said I'd put my foot through the floor more than likely. Well, the hole grew over the derby, and at the end of the derby, I went to stand up, my foot came back a little and went straight to the dirt. And you can see how the seat is almost floating. There's holes there, holes there. Again, you can see how the rear was pretty much pressed up to me. Again, it's like ripping off. The body is there as the rear axle's kind of pushing up through. But the seat mount area there and there where the seats, it's a little bit thicker there, and that's really what's holding on. So get underneath here. Just kind of crazy. It's a little out of focus, but there you can see is the seat. So we knew she was rusty, but she was tough with the wheels. Again, a flawed build, as I mentioned, with the front spindles not kind of going on perfect, but it did great. So take a look under the hood, but I don't believe we have any damage. Just a little bit of a closer look at what it looks like with the hood lifted. So just to show under the hood, and again you can see looking at the frame rails, I mentioned in my build and final build video how I just welded onto these kind of wide plates my Caravan bumper, and you see good weld up top, and the bottom was strong enough. As I mentioned, I used bolts because it was so beat up my bumper, but you can see how it folded in a little bit, especially over here. But here you can see how those kind of thinner plates at the end, it's not as thick as the rest of the frame rail was kind of folding up. But again, you know, easier to do that way, quicker to do that way, and it held enough. I mean, I wasn't going hard nose to nose at the end. Not only was my wheels kind of pointed in funny, but the other guys, even though they were still solid and hard up front, we were all kind of struggling to move. Schaefer was dragging his rear end. Rupp, his car was overheating and shutting off as he lost his, I think it was his stock radiator. He lost probably halfway through, about 25 minutes total feature. He probably about 10, 12, 15 minutes in lost his radiator, so she was running hot. And then Oliver, talked to him, he went out in fourth, and he said same thing, his motor just locked up. But yeah, you can see how underneath, again, everything did what I was hoping. This little plastic piece just broke off, but that's just protecting those fuses there as the hood was getting pressed back a little bit. But otherwise, everything worked great. Fuel line, again, right there. Put a little spray foam on top just to kind of secure it, as well as on the metal area there. The lines, again, just pull back and in. And something I didn't mention in my final build, and I actually almost forgot, but to show, there is, you can see it, if I can get it to focus, right there is our coolant temp sensor, our dummy one. It just plugs in right in the back of the motor. You can see right there is the one unplugged. I forgot to plug in my dummy one. Shout out to my wife. As soon as I was about to tie down the hood, I remembered, oh my goodness, I never put on, get to focus, my coolant temp sensor. And I have 2 or 3 of them sitting on the shelf. So I had her grab one, and Clarion on the way there just unplugged it, plugged it in, secured it. And again, you know, as the motor's getting hot, some people say it doesn't shut your motor down. I absolutely think it does. As the motor's in essence about to lock up, it kind of is, you know, flashing red lights, and then eventually the motor just shuts off. But we got that in there. So shout out to my wife, and that all worked. I think looking at the car now from here, I think the whole driver's side is tweaked forward. You can see the struts. That one I think is still in its normal position. This one is almost like the whole part of the car there, I think, is shifted forward. And that's why it's a little bit now kind of pointing more. This wheel is angled in because the whole car's, the whole side here, I think, is driven forward, which, again, she was so rusted. I was just hoping to have some fun, be out there for a while, as I had so many family because we were camping nearby. So many of our family members, extended family, came and watched. So tickled that she came out with first. Again, hometown fair, never won it. Good stuff. But yeah, I think that is what happened. Looking at it, the whole side here, I think, is shifted forward a little bit. That's wild. Again, looped tranny lines work great. I was definitely heating up at the end. You know, as you take out the kind of cooling system with the core support and you just loop them, it's going to get hot, especially 20, 25, 30 minutes in. There's no, you know, tranny cooler or fan or anything like that with the stock classes. And I knew I was slipping and getting hot. I knew Schaefer had to be getting hot too. And sure enough, that's what was able to get us the win. We outlasted them. But again, loop line worked great. Started coming out, pressure, steaming out there toward the end, but that's what it's designed to do with that piece. So everything worked great. Again, I was just tickled that it had I was just happy that it you know, lasted for a while. I wasn't putting on any big licks, as I knew this car was so soft and it wasn't going to take a pounding before the rear end was going to be sitting on top of me, which in essence is now. But again, the Caravan bumper, the solid frame rails, and the front Cavi kind of swaps with the spindles, everything did what I was hoping to do. So Clarion County Fair, again, always great to have a good run, have a car smashed up like this, but the fact that we were able to come out with a win, just so excited, just awesome. So that's her. final look, nothing else to say. She has nothing left. The motor is untouched. I'll actually probably had a number of people reaching out asking to buy it. Might just see if they'll give me a little bit more in scrap. I'll just sell the whole car, take off, of course, my steel spindles and struts and everything, so I can reuse those, the derby parts that I can reuse. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see if we can get a little bit more money out of the motor and just tranny and everything. I have the title. They can take the whole thing, minus the wheels, of course, as I'll reuse those. But that is her 2007 Chevy Cobalt, a rusty, crusty, rust bucket of a car, but she outlasted some really tough cars and young drivers. So that is her. It was fun. 25-minute run. Time to take off what we can reuse and scrap her.